My name's Walter, a 40-year resident of Kitsap County, and strongly support the plan. I'm also a partial supporter of Plan B because I believe in urban land development that includes employment opportunities beyond retail, hotel, so some kind of light industrial or warehousing down there. But that said, perhaps a hybrid between the two. But kudos to Olympic Property Group for all they've done to develop that and the buy-in with all the community groups. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks a lot. Hello.
Hi, John. Lee Criley. I live on the Bay. I was not aware that...
Lee, bring that mic right down to you. Get right on that thing.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. I was not aware of the $3 million grant the tribe received for acquisition of waterfront land in Port Gamble that one of your slides showed. Could you give me more details about that?
Sure. When the Navy builds a project like the new explosive handling wharf, when they build something out in the water, they're affecting federal treaty rights. And they have to do something to mitigate for those impacts because that takes away fishing grounds from the tribe. It takes away shellfish grounds from the tribe. And so in order to mitigate for those impacts, the Navy brings mitigation funding. And so part of that funding was, which is in the tribe's interest, is to preserve that shoreline south of the mill site in a natural state. So that land, if it was purchased, would probably be owned by a public agency, would stay in conservation, would not be built upon, and could be co-managed by tribe and a state agency, but will remain in its natural state.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks so much. Yes, sir.
Hi, John. How are you?
Hi, Ed.
Hey, I just wanted to say I'm really familiar with your work in Port Ludlow and Gig Harbor. My wife works in downtown Gig Harbor. She belongs to the YMCA you built. Fabulous job. I know how much work you put into that. This is your best work yet. I know how hard you guys worked at this. I think we had our first brainstorming session a decade ago.
Yes.
When you called me in. It's just amazing to me the work you guys have done.
Thank you.
Great job. As you know, I'm a CEO. What I do is I bring in tourists, I promote events, and I extract their disposable income from them while they're in town. A few things I see.
And we like the work you do.
Yeah, it is a win-win situation for all of us. I think you have a real opportunity with the tribe to work out this dock thing. I was just up at their new casino last night, beautiful. I just heard about their purchase of Heronswood. I'm going to be meeting with them in the next 2 weeks. They don't know what to do with the property. I know exactly what to do with it. I think there's an opportunity where you can work out a deal where they allow you to put a dock on your side if they can also take tour boats and dock it at Point Julia on the other side. So I'm looking at docks on both sides, minimum impact. And what I'm talking about is corporate tour boats where you take Microsoft employees, and it's usually Argosy or Waterways. They fill them up with corporate people. They come into your hotel. They do conferences. Then they go to the salmon bakes and all of that, and to the casinos, any of that entertainment. So real opportunity for there. I know you can get that deal done, so work that one hard. And actually, a lot of people are confused on why the Suquamish bought Kiana, because it's a beautiful property, but what they were after was a deep water dock that was already in. It's a huge, huge opportunity. With the housing down on the flatlands where we did all the events and all of that, that is being displaced. Do you have a plan to move that somewhere else, or are you just...
So what's going to happen at all the cool events in Port Gamble with all those houses?
Yeah.
We have a location that's south of town. We just opened up a new trailhead there. The airplane flyers are up there right now. It's 16 acres of grass and parking, and that will be the place for events to migrate to.
Beautiful. One of the things I want to encourage you in your planning is there was a change in the Kitsap County admissions tax. And this is back 7-8 years ago. The dynamics have changed in how you can turn a profit on events. What is really needed is a fenced-in area, good weather, bad weather, the role model is McCurdy Pavilion at Fort Worden, where it's fenced in so you can charge admission, control that, control the beer gardens. Also parking, you have to have the revenue from the beer gardens now, from the ticket sales, and from the parking. You need all three, as well as the corporate sponsorships. So I encourage you, when you develop that, to build in a fence secure area where admissions can be charged, same with parking. Gated area. Kitsap County, I was on their fair board. When they went to that model, it worked wonders and really helped the bottom line on their events. Other thing to put in your brain, I know your son plays soccer. I have 2 kids that play select soccer. We go to these tournaments. Kitsap County does not have a soccer complex with 5, 6 fields where you can come in and do tournaments. It's huge. It brings in thousands of people. They stay in the hotels, they buy food in all the restaurants because they have gaps between their games. So all they do is go into the museums and the shops and the restaurants. They drop a lot of money. There's one up in Skagit in the town of Burlington and also Snohomish that are role models for that. I know you have the upland space, something to consider there. Last comment is, I know years ago we were talking and Aramark had approached you about a hotel. And as you know, my wife worked for Aramark for 20 years. That deal fell through at the time, but if you've noticed, they've since taken over Quinault Lodge and Claylock Lodge and the hot springs and all of that.
Yep.
When I mapped that out, put pins on a map, Port Gamble's right there, so I encourage you to reopen that dialogue.
It's just a
with them.
missing puzzle piece.
It is. They're the perfect company for that. I'm well aware of their work and the caliber they bring, and I think they're perfect for that. So I encourage you to revisit that. But thank you so much.
Thanks, Ed.
Walt Elliott, Kingston. It's impressive. Thanks for doing the right thing and for the right reasons.
Oh, thank you.
I believe people only do things that benefit themselves, and I say that in a positive way. I think what you're doing in the town is great. I live at the I'm Nancy Rauch from Paulsbo, and you have a chunk of property that's adjacent to mine on Sawdust Hill. And so the question I have for you is, it sounds like all of that space between Sawdust Hill and Port Gamble, we're not yet sure what's going to happen there.
Right.
And thank you for encouraging and all the people who are working there. So maybe that's a 50-50 chance that something will happen there. So if there's fear struck in me, perhaps I'd be more active. So I know in 2002, there was the fear put in our neighborhood that Highway 3 was going to come through Sawdust Hill, and everybody rallied and was great, and that didn't happen. So can you give me a hint? Who are some of the people who are talking to you that, wow, if the conservation doesn't go, this is what our neighborhood might look like?
So the question is, if the conservation doesn't work, who are some of the rascally rabbits we're talking to? There's people that stop by and see us all the time. Some are land speculators. Some are timber investors. We have a group of them called conservation buyers, where they grow carbon and they're trying to get credits on that. And it all depends on who's around at the time, because they come and they go and they come and they go. And so the very best thing is to pay attention to that pit, that thing inside your stomach that felt like fear, and don't run over to the table. And then stay with this, because some alternative will probably be suggested, and you've got to swing the bat for that. Okay. Why don't we close this off? And I just want to say thank you for the positive comments. You almost never have a meeting like this and have people say nice things. And hey, let's hear it from Port Gamble, man.